Kinsta Review. Our honest assessment of Kinsta WordPress hosting after 5 years. TLDR. We moved the Codeine WP blog over to Kinsta WordPress hosting a couple of years ago. In this post, we'd like to give you our honest assessment of Kinsta's platform, being the result of our first-hand experience with it. In other words, we try to answer the question of whether Kinsta WordPress hosting really is as awesome as everybody says. Note: we've migrated to a different host since this review was first published. Table of contents. 1. What's Kinsta hosting anyway? 2. What does the Kinsta dashboard look like? 3. Our initial impression of Kinsta. 4. Performance of Kinsta. 5. What hosting survey data says about Kinsta. 6. How easy it is to get started with Kinsta. We've had our fair share of WordPress hosting experiments here at Codeine WP. Back when we started in early 2013, like most blogs, we didn't pay much attention to the hosting setup that we were on. Since the traffic was low anyway, we didn't see the value in investing much in hosting. But our needs have grown over the years, and with 10,000 plus people visiting the blog every day on the average, it has become clear that we should really rethink how the site is hosted, how it can be optimized, and what we can do to give our users a consistent experience no matter the load. Fast forward a bit. Our previous host immediately before Kinsta WordPress hosting was WiredTree. So what is Kinsta and their Kinsta WordPress hosting package anyway? Also, what makes them different from every other web hosting plan for WordPress out there? For me, the one-sentence summary of Kinsta's offering would be: the power of Google Cloud Platform hosting made accessible and easy to grasp for anyone. But let's start at the beginning. Under the hood, Kinsta WordPress hosting is 1. A fully managed WordPress hosting platform. And I know that managed is a label that many hosts like to use, but with Kinsta, their focus on handling everything management related for you is very apparent. For example, the aforementioned admin panel doesn't even have any purely management-like options in it. 2. It runs on Google Cloud Platform. 3. It offers business, enterprise, and custom hosting solutions based on your needs. 4. The most basic plan gives you 1. The ability to run one WordPress site. 2. 10 GB of SSD storage. 3. Up to 25,000 unique visits per month. 4. 1 free site migration. 5. 1440 daily uptime checks per site. 6. The ability to hook up a CDN of your choice. 7. Let's Encrypt support. 8. HTTP 2 support, 7 Philippine pesos. 9. SSH, WP CLI, Git support. For us, the features of Kinsta that stood up the most were these 4. Their SSL support through Let's Encrypt. Basically, from your Kinsta WordPress hosting admin panel, you can easily install an SSL certificate on your site, and it's all free, part of your current plan. Plus, since it's Let's Encrypt we're talking about, this also means that you don't need to go through the whole old school, and time-consuming, process of obtaining your certificate keys, etc. You can use a CDN of your choice. It's often with hosting firms that they have some restrictions as to which other solutions you're allowed to use with their servers. For example, WP Engine even has a list of banned WordPress plugins, so it's nice to see that Kinsta is willing to work with your current CDN. Optimized and thought through backups. Daily backups are somewhat of a standard feature these days among hosting firms, but Kinsta still manages to stand out with their specific implementation of that. Backups are created instantly and with no server overhead. Plus, instead of those being backups of your website elements separately, e.g. database, files, settings, etc., it's actually a backup of your whole isolated system. Because of that, the backups can be then restored with a single click. Free migration. This one is obvious. When switching hosts, you really don't want to pay for the migration, nor have to do it by yourself. In our case, I can only confirm that Kinsta's migration works without any hiccups. What does the Kinsta dashboard look like? I've mentioned the nature of the dashboard briefly above, but now let's take a glance at what it actually looks like from a user's point of view. As you can see, it's very different from what solutions like cPanel got us used to. To say it simply, Kinsta's panel focuses more on your daily, regular tasks as related to your hosting platform, rather than on server administration per se. Through the panel, you can easily access 1. Your sites. It's also where you can tune the initial setup, create new FTP accounts, see your past backups, add HTTPS, etc. 2. Site migrations. A nice overview of all site migrations done on your account plus the ability to perform more. 3. DNS settings. 4. Analytics. This section I really like. It's a nice addition on top of what you get from a third-party analytics script. There are also sections for billing, settings, activity log, and user guide. You may also be interested in 1. WordPress Hosting Survey 2022. According to 3,400 plus respondents, WP Engine rules, GoDaddy most popular. 2. 4 best GoDaddy alternatives for WordPress sites. Overall, the impression has been positive, but there were some minor issues along the way. First of all, the setup and the migration itself were done with no trouble. One day the site was on Pagely, the other it was on Kinsta. Personally, I wasn't involved in the migration process at all, and the only reason I noticed something had changed was because I was, unfortunately, editing a post right during the time of the migration. So I did my work, saved everything, refreshed the page. The performance was strong, to say the least, with noticeable improvements even when accessing the site manually without any measuring tools. But not to make the story too perfect, we also experienced some unexpected downtime. In total, that downtime added up to 130h over the span of just 1 month. Some of our uptime robot stats. No matter how you look at it, 130h is a lot. If we do some math, that 130h translates into 99.79% of overall uptime, which is not a result you'd be satisfied with immediately after moving to a new host. In the end, the issue has been resolved, and we haven't seen any significant downtime since that first month, September 2016. Overall, we've been happy with Kinsta's performance ever since. Performance is perhaps the second most important characteristic of a good WordPress host, the first one being reliability. And site speed in itself has gotten a lot of press in the recent years. Some believe that it's crucial for SEO, while others aren't as convinced. However, everyone is absolutely convinced that a quick loading site is essential for user experience, and that cannot be challenged. So naturally, we expected Kinsta to give us top performance. And right off the bat, I have to admit that we messed this part up a bit. I mean, The blog isn't a particularly optimized one when it comes to the source code it uses and the various handmade tweaks that have been done to it over the years. Nevertheless, even with a handful of Fs awarded to us by Pingdom, Kinsta WordPress hosting still somehow manages to load everything in 2 seconds. What hosting survey data says about Kinsta. A while ago, we ran what turned out to be the biggest WordPress hosting survey out there. The results have been really insightful, and we've used them as a data foundation for a couple of articles since. Granted, Kinsta only got a handful of responses in that survey, but they were all really positive. In fact, they were so positive that we even looked into where those entries were coming from. Summary. Kinsta offers fast, reliable managed WordPress hosting based on the Google Cloud platform. Users seem to love it, and it is probably among the fastest growing WordPress companies in the past 2 years. How easy it is to get started with Kinsta. Once you sign up, you have 2 options. You can either start a new site or migrate an existing one. Starting a new one is extremely simple. You just go to your user panel >sites and click on Add Site. At this stage, you need to provide some basic info. Migrating an existing site is nearly just as simple, but it does involve giving Kinsta more details about your current installation. But that's actually a good thing. It only means that Kinsta wants to learn all the ins and outs of your site before migrating it onto their servers, hence minimizing any failure probability. Once you fill out that form, Kinsta picks up and takes care of the whole process for you. What makes Kinsta different from the competition? In my opinion, it comes down to the following. 1. Kinsta gives you the power of a large hosting platform, Google Cloud Platform, yet does so in a very easy-to-use way. So that you don't even have to be aware of everything that's going on under the hood. 2. Kinsta WordPress hosting is performance optimized and ready for any traffic spikes you might throw at it. 3. It offers great security, while at the same time keeping everything backed up. 4. Last but not least, they also seem to have a no-nonsense approach when it comes to their server parameters, promised performance and bandwidth metrics. One of the few weak points that we've noticed with Kinsta is their rather basic staging environment. Here's a side-by-side comparison of some of the popular managed hosting solutions, just to give you a better overview of Kinsta's place at the table. How Kinsta WordPress hosting compares to the competition. Kinsta Pagely WP Engine Flywheel. Price, monthly, $29.17, $58.33. How much it costs in practice. You might have noticed the pricing column in the table above. Yes, Kinsta WordPress hosting is a bit more costly compared to other hosting providers. The cheapest plan will set you back at least $29.17 a month, and the progression later on is pretty steep as well. Also, the thing worth noticing in these pricing tables is the allowed free bandwidth. We're on the Business 2 plan, so we get up to 250,000 monthly visits. Speaking from experience, this is not that much for the price, and for a site that gets significant traffic, it might get drained very quickly. And since this plan allows you to have up to 10 sites, the bandwidth problem becomes even more serious. Luckily, you do get some CDN integration with your plan, which will help, since you get most of the static traffic through the CDN and hence not consume your valuable Kinsta bandwidth. When it comes to what's often the quiet killer of hosting bills, overage charges, those are not that brutal with Kinsta. Should you choose Kinsta? Obviously, Kinsta WordPress hosting is not for everyone. In all honesty, it's probably not the best option for sites that are just starting out or sites that have a low traffic volume. There are specific scenarios, however, where you will be able to benefit from Kinsta's offering greatly. Use Kinsta WordPress hosting if you run a site that's on the rise and has a nice steady, or rapid, growth month after month. If you run an established website with consistent, big traffic, and you simply don't like surprises regarding outages, fails, and other fun things. If you run a direct online business, like an e-commerce store, where good site performance is of the essence, since it translates into dollars pretty directly. If your site tends to experience sudden spikes in traffic, be it a result of a viral promotion or anything else, and if being able to handle those spikes is essential to your business, for example, if it leads to sales. If any of the above sound like something you'd need, feel free to give Kinsta a try. If the price is a no-go for you, consider looking through our other WordPress hosting comparison, the one focused on slightly more budget-friendly solutions. See what motivates other users to pick a host in this infographic. Go to Kinsta. We're curious to know what you think of Kinsta and their WordPress hosting packages.